morning.
Okay. Yeah. All right. We're starting now. Shin Ches, the Hilchos Muktza. Now, just a little bit of background on the Hilchos Muktza is a machlokes in the Gemara about Reb Shimon about is there Muktza or not. Now, we pass and there isn't Muktza. But, okay, so then, what's the whole one all these simonim about? So the Gemara goes through, and what does it mean, Muktza in the Gemara? There's no Muktza on Shabbos, Muktza on Yom Tov. What does that mean? It means, Muktza means in the middle of the Shabbos, you don't want something, or whatever, then you put it, you makatze it, so it means I'm putting it out of my mind, putting it inside, so you're not allowed to move it. For example, Muktza machos mius, there's different things which achlitz is really gross. You don't want to touch it, so you're not allowed to touch it. So on Shabbos, we don't paskin all the muktzas. We paskin some muktzas. Meaning basically something which was put aside, from Bein Hashmashos Nagid, something which you didn't want to touch when Shabbos started, that you can't touch the whole Shabbos. We're going to see there's a few different gedarim of what, certain things. Also, the second idea is also kalim. The idea of muktzah is muktzah kalim. Right? One of the big things is we're going to get into is kalim, things like that, which is also muktzah, would say it's also to move those b'chlal. Something which is a tzad, muktzah is also to move them b'chlal. We paskin that tzarech gufa makom is mutter. However, the third thing is the tzarech gufa u'makomo, which is gufa means you need to use it, makomo means the place, and the tzarech shmira, shamer you're not allowed to do. We're going to see there's also that we do have other mutzahs, chesar and kiss, machos gufa, things like that, which we do pass as completely mutzah. So the machlokes between in the Gemara and Mishra and Reb Yehuda is only really by kalim and a few other things. But the basic stuff which we mamish don't touch on Shabbos, that everyone's masking. Now the Shulchan Aruch is going to go through step by step different examples of all the different things we discussed already in the Reish Ayins about mirim miskatzai. That's something which is muktzah bein hashmashos. You won't, you can't, then already it's become muktzah the whole Shabbos. Something which becomes muktzah on Shabbos, unless it becomes machos gufa, is not going to be muktzah. But the idea of something which you makatze midaito, we discussed that, and also there's the idea of being, also we're going to get into more about being mazvin something or making something which is generally muktzah and it's not muktzah. There's all different ideas to deal with. So let's start. Kol kalim nitolim b'Shabbos. All kalim, you can pick up anything which is a kli, you can pick up on Shabbos. Chutz v'muktzah machmas kesar and kiss. Except something which is muktzah machmas kesar and kiss. Kegoyim, sakin shel shchita or shel mila, these are knives which kesar and kiss is the poskim point out doesn't mean it's expensive. It means that you're worried, you're not going to use it stam because you're worried you're going to be mafsid it, you're going to ruin it. The person needs a shchita knife to go ahead and do shchita. Maybe the shchita knife is very cheap, I don't know, but if you start playing with it, then you're going to have to, you're not going to start playing with it to cut your chicken because you're going to go ahead and ruin it. And you have to resharpen it, whatever. Also, shomila, people they put the things aside so that it doesn't get used. The Izma shel saparim and the barber's razor, the sakin shel seifim shel takim ba'al kumosim, and the special sharp tool to fix up the klafim. Since they're makpid not to use them for anything else, also the taltal of a Shabbos. So if you can't move it on Shabbos, the feel the tzarech v'koyma, the tzarech kufa, like I said, that for kalim generally it's multi tzarech v'koyma and tzarech kufa, but machas v'chasar and kids, we're not gonna be passing that it's not. You can't move it at all. And there's, like I said, there's a couple of machasar and kids is things either you don't want to move it because it can get ruined, or you have something which is it's a designated spot that you don't touch. the general klal which poskim do say on Chesaron Kiss is a couple general rules. Is one is would you use it? Would you use it for would you leave it lying around? Would you use it to hold something up, to put on the paperweight, place bookmark something, leave it around? Even though it's something you're makbid on, but you don't care so much, like if it gets touched, pushed around, things like that. That's not makbid Chesaron Kiss. Something which would be you'd be like, hey, what are you doing with that? That's Chesaron Kiss. Let's see, even if something is this chalaf is stuck in another knife holder with other sakinim, it's still also the taltalit. However, because it becomes however they say that you can't pick up if it's stuck in something, you can't pick up the knife, the other knives. Well, if the thing itself you're allowed to pick up because it's a basis isser v'heter. Meaning, in case, let's say keys. Let's say you have Muktza keys on the key ring with your house keys, car keys, things like that. So the question is and car keys can be Muktza machas Chesaron Kiss because you don't use it to go ahead. I guess nowadays we use it to open packages. So I don't know, but off the in general you don't use it for other things. And it's you have it on the key ring with other keys, so then you're allowed to. If the issue is this more choshev or not, and if it's tuffle, generally we do say that obviously it's better to have separate keys for Shabbos. If you happen to have keys with a key which is Muktza, then it is Muktza to carry agav because. For Shabbos, your house key is more choshev than let's say your car key or something like that. Now, you have a pounder, you have a grinder, like some sort of hammer or something for spices. You don't want it to get dirty. It's also you don't want to. Your makbid doesn't nothing that your makbid things don't ruin it or get dirty. If you have a store and you have stuff put aside for schayra and you're makbid because you need it for a store, you don't want to touch it. Let's say huadin Pesach kelim. Let's say you didn't have a chance to fill out your Pesach kelim away. So you're not going to go ahead, you're makbid, you're not going to go ahead and start using it during the year because, well, then you can't use it on Pesach. And you want to be sure it's covered, get it away. If you still have on the Shabbos, you still have some Pesach kelim, they would have a din of Muktza machas Chesaron Kiss. Now, what about the things for schar? Let's say you decide you want to go ahead and let's say you have a shirt store in your house. You need a shirt for Shabbos. So that could be okay. That if you take it al das right now, you're not going to sell it. If you take it and I'll wash it and sell it, then it's still also. But if you take it, you mafki it from the shame schayra because you want to use it, that also would be mutter. If you decide you want to take a keli,
how can you do that on Shabbos? At the beginning of Shabbos, it was schayra and it was muktza.
Right. So that's.
If someone else comes into your store, I can understand.
Yeah, I don't think there's a din of that. I don't think there's a din of. Why not? Shabbos Ablin, I'll look that up. I don't remember. On that Nakuda, I don't remember. They did discuss about that you were allowed to go ahead. Let me look it up. The other thing to talk about is looks like blank paper, writing paper. It's also Muktza. Even though nowadays paper is easy to find, but it's still nachshav Muktza because you only use it for it's still nachshav b'maisha, right? It's still nachshav Muktza. So if you have a notebook with let's say notes from shir or something like that, so that could be okay, but it's attached. B'maisha holds that if it's if it's a spiral notebook, it's okay to move the notebook around. But if it's like a loose leaf or something, you can take the papers out. So then that's more complicated because then the notebook itself is made to take papers out, so you can use for the papers. So you have some papers written on it. It's not so. You should pick those up before Shabbos. And one other One other thing to bring up here is what about Machas Chasaron Kis? What about a phone? The person discussed what about a phone? Is a phone considered Machas Chasaron Kis or not? Because it could be a very fancy phone, it could be whatever. It's a sheni, person leaves it, he uses it as a paperweight. He won't use it as a door stopper to save it, but he uses it as a paperweight. He lets it sit around like it's not like a designated, like, I used to be, when they first came out with the cell phones with the suitcase, the first like cell phone, don't touch that, like, that's expensive. But nowadays, like, it's very common. We get into a definite shiloh about a cliche that only has a use for Isser. That's a separate thing. Kiss. Pashtus, it's not, because, like I said, people leave them around unless a person's very makbid and no one else ever touches it, and he only keeps it in one place or whatever. That could be that could be chisaron kiss. It will sort of depends on the person. It's not a general call, so each person is to his own. I have to look up about the what's it called. Right, let's go back to base. Kol kli afilu gadol l'kavod harbe. Any kli, even if it's very big, a fridge. Even though there is a din by Hilchos Tuma that it's a kli which is bigger than our Boim saw, doesn't have a shame kli, the kabel tuma, and different things like that. But by Muktza, it doesn't make a difference. Even if you can't move it because it's very heavy, it's very big. And you're allowed to move it. It's Orach Chaim. Even if it's you need to move. Let's say you need to move your. Obviously, it's attached to the wall. No, but you have to move your sperm shelves to get something important. And you need a few people to come move it. Whatever. It's not Muktza. Klisha melachta le'isser mutu l'taltalo. Klisha melachta le'isser. You're always mutu to move it. Ve'im nishtamish le'isser in the shvashos. And there's Shehud Lach Ayin Lemishay. That's Bikudas Katzoi. I guess it's the Schreiber thing I'm going to look into. But if it's, Stankli Shalach Le'isser is Mutter to move it. Bein Tzorach Kufo. If you go on Kurna Shel Zahavim, on the Pachin in Tzoba, goes and let's say he has a jeweler's hammer and he needs to crack walnuts. For the Seder, Kardum Lachvach the Tvela, he has an axe, he wants to chop up, Tvela. Bein Tzorach Komo, the Hainish Tzarech Lishtamish Macham Shakli Munach Sham. Let's say it's in a place where it's on your counter. Left it on your counter. You need your counter to cut vegetables. So you're allowed to move it. And there's a discussion about whether, let's say, you're embarrassed that you left something on the counter. Or your wife's embarrassed. Can you move that because you have guests coming? So that's a little more unclear. That what they say is that you should go ahead and find some reason that you need that place to do something there. Right? How can you? I can't believe you left that there. Wow, so whatever, you find some way it's not the Chor, it's not the Tzorach Makomo. You have to make it Tzorach Makomo. You can do Rambams like that. Then once you're allowed to move it, you're allowed to take it to any wherever place you want. But if let's say it's sitting out in the sun and it's going to get ruined in the sun, you want to just move it to the shade. Or you got it sham, that you're worried that it's going to get broken or it's going to get stolen. Also, then you can't. It's also to move it.
Can you put another cleaning on top of it so that it doesn't get damaged?
That's a different shaila of bitul kli beichano. The tzarech muktza. No, but if you put something in the tzarech muktza, it's a shaila how because you're gonna leave it there the whole Shabbos. Yeah. So then you don't have to, but you are. So that would be an issue. However, what is brought down in Shabur brings, and it's going to discuss later on, is Tiltul V'Gufo, that you would be allowed to move Shabur passes, as opposed to Shabur Chazanish. Shabur passes, you would be allowed to go ahead and move it with your foot, or V'Gufo, bump it over, whatever it is, to protect it. Chazanish passes that Tiltul V'Gufo, we'll get to it later on, is also it's like derech hiluchot. You're walking anyway, so you can sort of give it a nudge, move it. But to stop move it, you're not allowed to. I'm sure possibly you are allowed to. But he does seem to say later on that it's not just like blanket heter. You have to be some sort of torah for it. You can't just like stop walking around, because you want to start kicking around rocks, like that's not going to work. But if there's a reason, like I said, there is a cheshbon that's going to have hefsid or something, then you'd be allowed to. Muktza is only also to move it. And not Nagiya. Nagiya is not usher. You can touch Muktza, you can touch a car, you can touch anything you're allowed to touch. You can't move it. Right? If you touch something, it doesn't shake. That doesn't mean like a little shake. Like a car, you touch a car, sometimes it can shake a little bit. That doesn't mean that. Nada means like it's swinging or something like that. Or it rolls. You touch something Muktza and it rolls, or your touch causes it to move. That would be usher. That's like tiltul. But if you touch something, it's solid. But because you touch it, like they say a car, you shake that. That's okay. Okay,
would be a tree.
Well, tree. It's not Muktza.
Right.
You can't climb it.
Understand that you can't touch a tree.
What do you mean?
You can't touch a tree.
Right. You're not leaning against a tree. You can touch a tree. You can't lean against it. Yeah. Okay. You're allowed to touch the candelabra and the shul. You're allowed to touch these things because they're not going to move when you touch them. You're allowed to take off. You're allowed to take off something mutter on top of something muktza. You're allowed to move it because even though it's touching, that's okay. And like you're allowed to blow things. Classic example is if you have a bug on your spider or an ant on your sitter, you're allowed to blow it off. Or you have some muktza thing on the table, some paper or something, or a pencil, you're allowed to blow it off. That's not actually tiltul, that's tiltul kalachayad. Blowing generally works for, for things that work for, that's the way to get around muktza. Dalit, kli, shemalachto leheter. Now that's a kli shemalachto le'isr, which is generally, like I said, there's a discussion about, what about fans? Other electric things. Are you allowed to move a fan? Because it's actually shalach to l'isr because it's just the only way to use it is through isr. So there's a machlokes of poskim that you can't, because you can't use it. Listen, if it's not plugged in, you can't. To use the fan, electric fan, you have to plug it in and turn it on. You can't do that on Shabbos.
Right.
But bikaron is not.
Once it is on, it's enjoying the breeze.
Yeah. So Shabbos holds you are allowed to move.
So he labels it a kli shemalachto.
No, he holds it's a kli shemal. It could be. It's a slightly different gather. It's a kli that only works through Isser, but it's not.
It works through Isser, but it's not.
It's not also. That's the thing. So he's Shlomo Zalman Paskin said it is mutter to move a fan and things like that. I saw a discussion of what about a phone.
But why? We just said that not though was a problem.
No, it's because Muktza. That's the thing. It's a kli. It can be seen kli shemachto leheter. It's not. The fan itself is not Muktza. Once it's running, it's not Muktza. Some hold it is, but once it's running, it's not Muktza. So therefore, you're allowed to go ahead and move it around because.
Kli shemalachto leheter is not considered Muktza.
No, leheter is not.
Is kli shemalachto leheter considered Muktza?
It's a different din of lachto leheter. Okay, kli shemalachto leheter is also to move it b'chamer l'tzeil. But if you need it, you're allowed to move it.
So, for example,
kli shemalachto leheter, you're allowed to move.
A perfect
we'll see in a
example
second.
I can jump in. You have a wrench that's used to tighten pipes, right? It's completely usher at the moment. But now you have a walnut. You want to open up the walnut, and you don't have anything to open up the walnut. You can totally use that.
No, but the fan.
No, but I'm getting to one point, and that is when you're not doing something for its heter use, are you allowed to swing it? We said that a car doesn't really swing.
I'm not talking about turning the dial and undoing. That's a whole different child. That's directing it.
Right?
I'm asking about moving in a way where that's swinging, but you're not handling it.
Meaning you want the air or you don't want the air?
So first I want to know is on a cliche that is a real kli shemalachto leheter.
Yeah.
And it's on some kind of pivot. Can you swing it?
And
you're not doing it in one of the heter ways.
Oh, it's kli shemalachto leheter. If it's down, you just want to touch it to move it because Well, get up for no reason.
Let's say it has some kind of Klisha Malachta Isser, and it's in the sun, and you want to swing it into the shade. Right?
So that you can't do. That would be a problem. You
Why?
can't swing.
Because you're moving it itself, so it's a Klisha itself, which is an usher way of dealing with this.
Right.
Which is essentially a Muktza item.
Right.
And we said that swinging is a problem.
Right.
Okay. So now a Klisha Malachta Leheter. Let's say that a fan is a Klisha Malachta Leheter. Okay?
Right.
So now you want to swing it. But you're saying so that the swinging isn't one of those Muktza ways of doing it. Whatever you're doing is fine. Is that your answer? Is that how you...
Right. I mean, it's if you hold that Klisha Malachta Leheter, we'll speak Leheter in a second.
But we say that even by Klisha Malachta Leheter, there is moving it for no reason.
Well, that's Siftal. Yes, that's Siftal. We'll get up to that in Siftal in a second. Yeah. Now the other thing is, what about a phone? Let's say you use the phone as an alarm. That's all the shaila. What if you use your phone as a wake up alarm? Are you allowed to move that? You know, because on Shabbos you're not using it as a phone, you're using it as an alarm. So obviously the chachila you shouldn't, but if it's going off and making everyone crazy, so it happens more in Yom Tov because people forget to turn their alarms off. Because it's a lachal isur laheter, because right now you're using it for Shabbos. You set an alarm. You set an alarm for Shabbos. You're not using it as a phone. Rather, you're using it as a clock and an alarm.
So the alarm is the heter.
Right.
Okay, I was listening.
Yeah. And the alarm is the heter. So yesh balahatir. Yeah, but it's better.
Ask him more.
Yeah. It's better to not
get a lot of pillows.
Yeah.
Or using it as a clock.
Yeah, that's the thing. Is that there is a tad, definitely a tad heter. If it's not mamish l'tzorich, it's better to, because it's a little bit of a gray area, a little bit unclear. About what to do with that. Kli shemelachta laheter. So there was a regular fork. Mutu l'taltal afil eno el l'tzorich kli shlisharba or yagana. You can move it. We don't want to get broken or anything like that. That's mutter. V'shlo l'tzorich klal also l'taltalo. Something which is not l'tzorich at all. It's also l'taltal. In fact, the Shulchan asks, what is whoever moves something without any reason at all? What in the case are we talking about? He doesn't understand.
You're just manipulating it. No reason.
There's always a reason. He says there's always a reason. It's a Mishavura answer seems to answer that you're talking about the tzorich machar of the time. It's not the tzorich hayom, tzorich machar. So you're not moving the tzorich hayom. You're moving the tzorich machar. Shulchan doesn't seem to go with that. He says you're right. It has to talk about some sort of kumta, like you said, that the guy's just fiddling with it. So it's like a very small, whatever. Yeah, I can see. You're sitting at the table and people sit there fiddling with their forks. But also it's just sort of, hard to.
So I would say that fiddling with something is actually it's important for you. It means your mind is focused on it.
Right, so that's the thing. That's what we're talking.
Therapeutic. I forgot what the word is called for it. But there's
so a person has just, it's not therapeutic. That's not fiddling. He just, I'm moving the glass. To move the glass.
No, move the glass.
Okay, that's what Rav Gilman says. It's a tzarchir. It's a bit of a funny case, but yeah, definitely. You're just even I don't know. It's a little bit unclear, but yeah, if it's something which really has no tzarch at all, like I said, the Mishnah says tzarch machar. I don't know. Tzarch in a little bit. Like I said, you want to talk about moving the fan for no reason. Why moving the fan? People don't usually do things for any reason at all. So I don't know.
Well, in that case, assuming that moving for no reason, it qualifies for this. So now it's Muktza, and now you can't move it.
No,
you can't swing it for no reason.
You can't move it then, but you can move it after. It doesn't become Muktza. You can't move it after.
I'm saying. I'm trying to establish the principles here. Yeah. So a Klisha Malachta Leheter can be considered Muktza when you're using it for no reason.
Right, it's considered right.
So therefore, to swing it, a fan and we're looking at it as a Klisha Malachta Leheter, and if you're swinging it from one side to another for no reason, not to get a better breeze, so then that would be Muktza.
That would be a problem with it. Correct. Right. All right. Kitzei HaKodesh Achla in Mutar L'Tal Tafil Shul Tzarech Klal. Food or Sfarim, you're allowed to stam move whatever even if it's not tzarech at all.
It's not all food, because if you have raw meat,
Yeah, it means food. It means on your plate. Your kids don't like the kugel and they start playing with it and moving it this way and making faces. I don't know, whatever. So that could be that's no problem.
Why? Food I get, but why Kisvei HaKodesh? Aren't they considered a kli? Aren't books considered a kli?
No, they're not Kisvei HaKodesh. No,
they're not considered a kli.
Not considered a kli. Something.
Anyway.
Anything which is Kisvei HaKodesh and food is something always usable. It never goes in Muktza on those things. Only kelim and or writer. So tefillin and talmud ki'im l'tzarech. It's out there by near the entranceway. There's a shtibel. There's light switch to shtibel. Tefillin and talmud ki'im l'tzarech. You can only move tefillin l'tzarech, tzarech gufa, mekoman, or whatever. To show me them also. Shofar also l'taltala ki'im l'tzarech gufa or mekomo. Shofar you can only move tzarech gufa or mekomo. Let's say you want to use it for drink. I don't know. You want to put water in it. You're very thirsty. You want to drink from it. That's okay. But the stam when we shofar around is aser. Yesh matim taltal klishim alachto iser fila michama. Let's say the kikar or tinok. This was mentioned. You're allowed to go. Some say that you are allowed to move a kli michama letzel with by putting something heter on it. But the Meshur brings up many rishonim are cholik on that. It's only kikar particular. It's only a heter for a mace, not for anything else. So therefore. It's better not to unless you have something with food in it, so that could be okay. Anything else? Maybe we'll stop here because before we get started in the Muktza B'Chufo, and this week just covered Machmas Chesar Kis and Machmas and Klish Machta L'Isser, Klish Machta L'Heter. So.